Corey and I have been talking about marketing, talking about how, some of the things that they're doing for tier. And then we end up just start talking about the CrossFit Games. It's coming up. It's only a few weeks away. And that was like the conversation. And then all of a sudden he calls me, he's like, hey, I know we've been talking, but can you guys help us put together a campaign ASAP for tier for the CrossFit Games for this product launch? Of course, being somebody that's in CrossFit and somebody that loves the sport, I was like, yes, we're definitely down. As a team, we're definitely down to do this. But the turnaround is, it was less than 10 days. It was roughly 7 to 8 days. And for us, usually when we're working with teams and we're strategizing, we're building out strategies for a team, it's 30 days. We have 30 days to map everything out. I think the hardest part is going to be the Guerilla marketing piece. Social is going to be tough. The hero video is going to be tough because the hero video we're going to have to shoot at the games, and then that has to be turned around within 24 hours. So they'll shoot it Tuesday, Wednesday, games kicks off Thursday. Within 12 hours, 14 hours, the editors have to be able to spit up the content. That's going to be tough because if anything goes wrong, there's no way for us to really fix it. So we had 10 days to put together an entire campaign for a product launch for their new footwear pack, the For What It's Worth pack.
We had done pieces of this previously, but never to the extent of what we desired with this campaign. And so that's when we reached out to you. Matt and I had been following everything that you've been putting out and felt that it really aligned. And then obviously, you being into the space, knowing the sport, for us, that's meaningful.
On our end, we're thinking about, okay, we have to look at all the pillars that stem from email, SMS, organic social, paid social, guerrilla marketing, landing pages and CRO, wait lists, email sequences, SMS sequences. Kind of the way I'm thinking about it is we have to look at all the pillars, and when we're mapping out the timeline of how the launch is going to get executed, every piece of the puzzle has to kind of come together to fuel that narrative. There's a lot of moving pieces here. We had to create all of it, map it all out, design all of it, basically give them the template that their team can execute within 7 to 8 days. And so when we thought about this, okay, what is first, and it started with what is the narrative that we're trying to create around this shoe?
The idea is, like I was telling you, last year they almost banned their shoe because it was so bright, so vibrant. It was a yellow. So they were like, hey, only neutral colors. So tier was like, okay, we're going to do neutral colors, but we're going to add this 3M material, so now it's going to be reflective, but we're abiding by your rules. So there's a shot though that because it's reflective and 46 athletes are going to be wearing it, it's going to be popping on the CrossFit Games in the arena, and when you're an athlete, there's a chance the shoe gets banned. And if the shoe gets banned, it's well, what's our backup marketing video? What's our backup marketing play? And so the idea is Nike, when they did something with Jordan way back, when they first launched the Air Jordan 1, you weren't allowed to have red in the shoe. And so Nike made a whole ad around hey, this shoe got banned.
On September 15th, Nike created a revolutionary new basketball shoe. On October 18th, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, the NBA can't stop you from wearing them.
So we're making our own version of that for tier.
The time is really your friend here. You want to have as much time as possible because you want to be able to make some of the changes. Some of the things that we got out and how we were teasing the product, we wanted to start with the athletes doing a bunch of exercises and blurring the product, right? So you don't see the product technically, but there's flashes of light. So day one, when we touched out in Fort Worth, it was straight to the tunnel, straight to the venue that we rented, and it was game time. It was gonna be 8 hours. It was gonna be capture the hero video, move on, and start shooting all of the athletes, getting their own hero videos, taking moments where the athlete had essentially faced some problem, overcame that problem, and now it's this little hero story, this little hero moment for that athlete that we get to leverage and show the shoe.
So was I scared I wasn't going to make it? Of course, but for what it's worth, I was more scared of never being great.
But again, we're not focused entirely on the shoot, we're focused on the athlete and some of their moments. Then Wednesday was more some extra BTS. We really wanted to bring people behind the scenes of a campaign, because behind the scenes of a campaign are starting to become very important, right? A lot of times, especially in this era, you launch a campaign and then the authenticity of that campaign doesn't seem legit. The BTS solves that. It helps you bring the audience behind the scenes and see there's true relationships and partnerships being built here. There's true stories being told, etc. But here's the crazy part. On Tuesday, we shot the hero video and it had to be turned around overnight
My perspective was in between those pauses, in the beginning and in the end. In the beginning, in between the pauses, I wasn't strong enough. Failure of Pat, another no rep. Alexis, been 35th. Like, we had the calls for the failures.
Yeah.
Those should be in the front end of the
100%.
video, and then the calls.
Because they're gonna make it more dramatic. The I wasn't strong enough. Pat, what did the instruments?
Yeah.
So we're talking over 16 videos, beautifully shot in 6K, like big files, getting shot, edited, and turned around, edits, etc. within that like 12 hours. That turnaround was tight. And then we go into Wednesday for the shoe launch. It goes live and everything is going perfectly well. The campaign is crushing, the bar is set, we're surpassing the bar. And then it's the big day, right? The athletes, it's day one of the CrossFit Games. It's about to kick off. Day one, all the athletes are gonna be in the shoes, and then there's an unexpected moment.
All right, so we were just kicking off the CrossFit Games, kicking off the rest of the campaign, and team event was just canceled. I mean, it seems like somebody just drowned.
The Fort Worth Police Department says it was not on scene prior to the drowning call, which came in around 8 a.m. And about an hour later, dive teams recovered the athlete's body.
It's devastating. Every 15 minutes, I get tears in my eyes just thinking about it.
At that point, the strategy isn't important, right? It's all about the athletes and the community and the individual's family and how well we can help support. At that point, it's not even about managing the campaign and looking at numbers. It's all about being there and trying to be some kind of support system. And because of that, it was tough. It put a brakes on everything.
It's always like what you least expect, I think. That's always seems to be the case. It's you plan for as much as you can plan for, and it's the thing that you don't plan for that ends up causing you to have to adjust.
This morning, we weren't executing any of the marketing that we had planned just because, again, like there was a ceremony. It just felt too early. It didn't feel like the right time. The energy was low. Like we would have looked bad if we would have started executing the campaign. But at the back half of the day, we started executing. So what does that look like? Two parts, ads and then the organic social. So during the organic social, we basically had live social going. As tier athletes were winning events, the team was shooting content, pulling content, editing content, and posting it in real time. They won an event, and within 5-10 minutes, there was a post going out. And now we're gonna be doing that for the rest of the weekend. We have another event that we're going to in an hour or two. That is part one. Part two is all of that is going to be fed now to the pay team. The pay team's going to be taking anything that tier posts is going to be running an ads now to the new collection, to the new landing page. And we're going to be running this the entire weekend. The goal is to be getting millions of impressions on the shoes, funneling people to the new collection, and then retargeting them with paid ads. So that's what you're getting a little behind the scenes of. Outside of that, I made a mistake with this hoodie. Big mistake, but you live and you learn.
Thursday was a tough day. It put a wrench in everything. And going back to the playbook, we had to look at what we were going to execute and make a lot of changes.
We're shifting our focus. Our focus now is to get out as much live content of the athletes as possible, and then focus on how are we making them like the hero at the CrossFit Games.
On our end, it was, okay, those are the heroes. That's what we're going to focus on. They have the shoes. It's great. They're going to naturally push it for us by just competing in them and being great. And so on the back end, we also had to think about, okay, if we can't push out all this content, where can we increase the volume? And where we can increase the volume is in email and SMS. And so the way that we're approaching that is, we're going to have one email going out every single day, one SMS going out every single day.
So there should be emails going out today, tomorrow, like literally the remainder of the week.
Well, that's going to be all the assets that Dan sent over. So we did like whole product-based assets for that.
And that's going to be all going out tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, the whole weekend.
Until we get anything on the CGI, and then we'll add to that with the CGI.
That shifted to now, okay, we could leverage the email in the morning to give a recap of the day before. Then in the evening, we can really push the product and push the collection. Friday ended up being the best sales day for the collection. And, as we continue to ramp up, we're, again, taking the strategy and kind of building on the fly. The other part that we had to not really pump the brakes on, but we had to wait till it was the right moment was the Guerilla marketing. There was a few things we did. We had 3,000 plus shirts made that are, again, all black, metallic silver, reflective silver on it. Also on the back, it says for what it's worth, it's the campaign. We're handing those out. We're going around the stadium. We're handing out free t-shirts. We're focused on certain sections of the stadium so that when you look at a certain section, it's blacked out, it's tier. The second layer was creating baseball cards for the athletes.
All right, so one of the things that we had planned in the marketing strategy was guerrilla marketing. How are we going to kind of do this takeover while we're not one of the title sponsors, and how are we going to be able to do that? And so one of the things that we're doing is creating these baseball cards. These baseball cards are for all the tier athletes. It has all their strength. There's basically like these holographic baseball cards that play into the shoes. On top of that, it has a QR code directing you to the landing page that we built. So a little bit of what we're doing.
And with those baseball cards, we were handing them out within bunches. We had over 1,000 made, and so we were giving them out into the crowd, and naturally you see someone opening up and they're trying to get their favorite athlete, and then they're showing it to the person next to them and they want a pair, and so all of a sudden it creates this effect where everybody sees it. Everybody that's around you sees it. It's not a one-on-one interaction, it's like a 1 in 5 interaction, which is what we wanted to create.
The entire trading card plays into the holographic aspect of the shoes, the 3M material. So again, playing into that entire narrative that if CrossFit was going to ban the shoe, cool, we're going to be everywhere. You're going to fight, you're going to learn about us, and we're going to be in front of your eyeballs.
With the content, we wanted to create this feeling that we were everywhere. Anytime you scrolled Instagram during the CrossFit Games, we were like your reporter. We were reporting live with our athletes and how they were performing.
And he will break 5 minutes. Roman Karenikov in second. The fight's for third.
And on the back end with the guerrilla marketing, we wanted to make sure that everybody knew about us, everybody saw us, everybody saw their logo, but we were also like kind of creating these micro moments with the fans, with the spectators, where Tier just did something dope. Like, I don't have to pay them for these cards. I don't have to pay them for these shirts. We're creating these oh wow moments, these oh shit moments that makes you buy into a brand and makes you have that affinity that's hard to buy. Like, that's a hard thing to create. And then going into the last day of the games, you know, the whole For What It's Worth pack it's all about being resilient. And these athletes have had to be resilient all weekend and fighting their emotions while also having to perform at the highest level. And that is a difficult thing to do. So going into the last day, you know, our focus is just on continuing to do what we're doing and expecting Tier athletes to be on the top.
This year was the most athletes we've ever supported on the competition floor. We were over 60% of the elite individual field. That's who we are, and that's what we're going to continue to do at the end of the day. So we'll still continue to support our athletes. We'll still continue to support the community, and that was kind of the thing that we leaned on. Was if our athletes are out there competing, you know, for what it's worth, we're going to be there for them.
There's still a lot of time left in the CrossFit Games. It's the last day, but a lot can happen, and we just got to keep going. Again, the goal on my end as someone that Tier's brought in for the week is, I know what the numbers are supposed to be. I want to be here. That's my entire goal. Set a new standard. Every single time we launch something, we work with a brand, set a new standard. And that's what I'm here to do, is to help them set a new standard and then crush it every single time.
So that's a wrap on a very, very strange CrossFit Games. What came in as like an insane, you know, exciting moment and event and launch that we were prepping for ended up being a turn of events that, you know, you never wished for, never hoped for. You know, even Tier signing Sprague, who ended up winning the CrossFit Games on the men's side for just the weekend. He ends up winning the whole thing. Like, just a big moment, and overall, just, you know, the product launch went as good as it could have gone. In reality, I don't know if it could have gone better due to the circumstances, but overall, happy with how everything turned out. Hopefully you guys learned something from this as well on the product launch side. That was the whole goal, is to get behind the scenes of it so you could see how to execute, how to think about it, how to go about it. And then there's when things don't go as planned, you have to audible and do as best as you can. So that's a wrap on the 2024 CrossFit Games, and see you next year.